Hey guys, welcome to summer, and also to the Get a Life podcast Kunai. I'm Tyson Matsuki, and you may be wondering, why am I the host this time around? Well, by the way, Bish is still here. Bish loves Mitch. Say hello.
Hello.
And we also got Kevin Chow in the other side. Say hello.
Hi guys.
And for today, we are going to cover the second season of a show we have already done before, which you can listen to. Because right now we're going to talk about Free Eternal Summer, which is, or just as we're going to call it for sure, Free Season 2. But before we get into the discussion, there's always the little disclaimer. Whose turn is it to say it now? Kevin or Bish?
No, it's me.
Okay.
So yeah, for you new guys, Get Life Podcast Kunai is a monthly anime discussion podcast under the Get Life group, which means Get Life Podcast Kunai is the little brother of the original Get Life Podcast. And some DVDs fell down. That's kind of cool.
Galp Kunai DVDs.
Galp Kunai DVDs. Download them now. They're only $59.99 without tax, and shipping is.
Does anyone even use CDs anymore?
I think some people in Africa probably use CDs. I don't mean that in a rude way. I'm just saying they don't get technology as fast as us. Google are trying to bring fiber over there. I'm being serious.
Okay,
like,
no, I was even thinking of that in a racist way until Tyson started laughing. Okay, I'm innocent here. It's just Tyson. Just get your mind out of the gutter, man. I mean, jeez.
It's impossible to do with the kind of lunatics that I'm around with.
And by the way, Africans, PC master race. Just saying.
Disclaimer.
Wow.
Continue.
Okay, well, they have internet in Africa. If you're listening from Africa, tell us. Anyway, so it's an anime discussion podcast, so expect heavy spoilers because this is a season 2. So we're obviously going to be talking about spoilers from season 2 and maybe season 1. So go check out the previous episode where we talked about Free Season 1. And yeah, we're not going to be talking about light novels or any manga for shows that are based off light novels or manga. And we can be found on Stitcher and on iTunes. So if you have a iPhone, download it because the podcast app is there. You have no excuse. If you're on Android and say, well, I don't have iTunes, well, you have Stitcher, so go download it from there. And yeah, so you can send us your suggestions. And we have a Twitter page now. It's at GLAPKunai. Yay! And we all run it, even Joe. So yeah, you can talk to us there and tell us about anime and stuff. And you can suggest to us anime. It has to be at most 30 episodes long. Because, we got lives to attend to. Get it? Yeah, that was a bad pun. But Tyson loves it, so I kept it in there.
Apparently I did. Oh, and by the way, before getting into the actual discussion, in the last episode, in the Hataraku Mausama episode, we did say that Denkigai was going to be next, and we did do Denkigai, but it wasn't up to our standards, so we're basically skipping a show and then doing the next one on cue, which will be Free Season 2. If there's interest in releasing that same episode or just version 2 of the same show, we can do it, but let us know in the Twitter account, okay?
To be honest, that episode was such a train wreck. Like,
Yeah,
I was editing it and I'm like, what the
honest.
fuck is this? It's a complete mess. Like, imagine Get a Life Podcast getting sick and just taking diarrheaing everywhere. That's what the episode was. It was. I know I'm being vulgar here, but bear in mind, it's late for me, and I just drank a Coca-Cola. Who they're not sponsoring us, but Coca-Cola, if you're listening, I doubt they would. Anyway, yeah. So Tyson.
Okay, so Free Season 2. So it's the same studio that made Free Season 1 Kyoto Animation back in the rains. We already have a setting, which would be the town of Iwatobi, a fictional town in modern day Japan, and it still follows the story of the 5 dorky swimmers. I don't know if you want to call them that: Makoto, Haru, Nagisa, Rei, and Rin. But there are some quite interesting spin-offs in this anime that we felt that doing a second show of Free would be necessary. So let's see, where do we begin with? I mean, I suppose we could start in which, during watching the show, has your opinion on the characters changed, even by a little? Who wants to start?
I'll start with that, actually.
Okay.
To be honest, from the last episode, you guys already know my opinions on Haru and Rei. I absolutely hated Rei in the first season, and in this season, my opinion has changed, and I'm like, wow, Rei is actually kind of a cool guy. Yeah, he is kind of a dork in the sense that he's always talking about calculations, but I feel that he believes in himself a lot more, and you see him grow. You know, especially in the last episode where they done this terrible thing in the anime where they were like, oh, let's do like a flashback episode. That pisses me off in any sort of TV show or any form of media when you do flashback episodes, so never do that. But yeah, he was saying that, you know, he wasn't able to swim before, and now he knows all the types of strokes, which is lovely. And he has more strength in himself, and he's able to give advice to others. He admits his weaknesses. That's what I like about him.
It's kind of ironic that the same person that taught him all these strokes was the same guy that he had issues with in season 1, Rimatsuoka. Yeah. And I think I thought that was quite commendable from Rin, although he feels that he owes him for letting him swim his leg during the relay in season 1. So I don't know if you feel that it paid off, like debt repaid or something.
I'm not quite sure. I wouldn't say it's like a debt repaid because I never thought about it as that, but I just feel that, you know, Rei's become a lot more bearable as a human being. In terms of other characters, I'm kind of disappointed with Nagisa, to be honest.
Like, what?
Nagisa.
Stop the presses. Nagisa's number 1 fanboy says that he's disappointed with his own god, and we're talking about the god of God Kunai. Explain yourself right now.
Okay,
bitch.
let me explain myself. The thing is, in Nagisa season 1, they should have an anime just called Nagisa. I would love to watch that. Kyoto Animation spin-off anime, go. But in Free season 1, you know, Nagisa was really like chilled, and he was like, yeah, he was the motivation behind the group, which I loved. And you know, he was very Mugi-chan-esque in terms of his character design and whatnot. That hasn't changed. but within, I think it was episode 5, his episode, basically, they were trying to show him some backstory and saying, oh, Nagisa was this kind of depressed kid at school that would study all the time, and he went to a private school because his parents are like bloody rich, and you never see his parents. That's another thing. But he's very it seems very unbelievable.
What do you mean? Hang on.
In terms of like, I can't believe that this Nagisa, this awesome guy, was once someone who was really depressed. And you know, you can't really tell if someone's depressed or not. But that's another thing. It's like, it doesn't suit his character. And it was like, really, Kiani, you're really gonna do this to Nagisa? You're really gonna do this?
I have to comment on that later. Or I don't know if you want, I can comment on that right now.
Comment on it now.
Yeah, comment on it now.
Okay, I have to say, while I was watching, I have to say episode 5, or, you know, Nagisa's episode, it's probably one of my favorite moments because I didn't dislike him before, but episode 5 actually gave me a reason to like him more. And it, like, one of the things that this season does in general, it's just, you know, a huge improvement over the last season, you know, is the development that they give to each individual character. And what happens in episode 5, for those of you who haven't watched, is, well, if I recall correctly, he has trouble with his, you know, schoolwork. His grades are going down because he's spending all of his time at the pool trading for the competition, right? So he's under this huge pressure from his parents and everyone to study, but at the same time he feels like he owes his team because, you know, he's part of the relay team. He can't let his friends down. You know,
but the thing is, I feel that his story is very flawed. And I feel that, because, you know, this is probably original. I'm not sure if this is mentioned in the light novel or not, but I feel that Kyoto Animation were lazy with his story because they even mentioned it themselves. They said, oh, Nagisa was good at studying before, and, you know, he was very diligent, used to get great grades. And it's just like, well, if he really wanted to, he could just study a bit and bam, you know, awesome grades, and he doesn't need to worry about it. And he's acting like it's such a big deal. That's another thing. It's like, okay, I don't know how his parents are, and I'm only going off from what Nagisa's telling me. There is no acknowledgement of his parents. Like, his parents might not even need to be there or not. Do you see what I mean?
I think Nagisa's parents make an appearance, although blurred, In season, not season 7,
In
episode 7.
In in episode 7, I don't quite remember that. The thing is, I was also disappointed that I didn't see Nagisa's mum, because he was always talking about Nagisa was always talking about his mum. He was like, "Oh, is my mum here? Is my mum here?" And I'm like, "Oh, is he gonna open the curtain and it's Mugi-chan?" And I wanted that to happen, but it didn't. You know, Mugi-chan is Nagisa's mum, and I know Kyoto Animation knows this because that's why they never shown Nagisa's mum. Because it's Mugi-chan.
Okay, so we're switching the title from Nagisa's number one fanboy to Mugi-chan's number one fanboy, and Nagisa will be replaced as the god of Galkanai with Mugi-chan.
No, the thing is, Nagisa is Nagisa. He's like the kami of Kunai. But,
I will resign. I will resign.
No, don't say that, because I imagine you as Nagisa. You know what I mean, Kevin? Because you mentioned that
pistol around here, like I could use it.
You know what, Kevin? You mentioned that that you used to be a swimmer, and then straight away I was like,
yeah,
okay,
I remember.
Yeah,
that.
and he's exactly Nagisa. So I'm imagining Tyson as Itachi. And you're Nagisa. That's how it goes. Even though your icon is Fi,
I don't get
you're Nagisa. I'm sorry.
Super, like Nagisa. Normally he's fine. Just what kind of annoys me is your
obsession.
With
Nagisa.
Yeah, exactly. I can't begin to comprehend your obsession with him. He's not on the same level as me.
No, Nagisa is best girl in Free.
No.
Even though he's a boy, he deserves the title of best girl. Okay, are you gonna say Go-chan? Go-chan is nothing. She has no
I will
personality.
tell you who my favorite character is this season.
Oh, who is it? Who is it?
Okay,
we'll dive straight into
Mako and Mako and Rin, with Sosuke being an honorable mention.
Oh, see, the thing is, for me, speaking of new characters, I like Momo. His name is Momo? Momotaro, yeah.
Who's Momo again?
The red hair guy. His brother used to be the captain of
the little brother who used to be the captain of the Samezuka swim team. That's Momotaro.
Yeah, he was pretty cool, but like I think he's as the season went on, he went from a character with potential to just kind of like a punching bag for jokes.
Yeah, but that's the thing.
Like Brock,
he has to be the comic relief in this anime, and I think he does it well because you're not going to have another character. You're not going to give that to Nagisa. You're not going to give that to Makoto or Haru or Rin. You have to have a comic relief character. And to be honest, Go's jokes from season 1, because she was the comic relief in season 1, her jokes are dead. And they've even mentioned that within the anime. Like, when they were like, oh, I'm just going to give up on muscles and all of that. She even said it herself. And then, then even, what's his name?
That was
Nagisa was like, no, you're not going to give up. Like, psh.
The thing is,
that was pretty self-aware.
The joke's funny the first time, but like when it's the same joke that's been repeated like 5 times throughout the season, it gets predictable and boring. He's like Brock from Pokemon. That's how I think. Okay. Like having that obsession.
That's a very, very bold statement to say that he's Brock from. In a sense, yes, he is.
But you have to understand why I'm making that connection, because it's funny the first few times, and that's that one scene where that he has with his older brother. It's pretty funny, but like as the season progresses and the same joke is used over and over and over, you just kind of know what to expect from him every time that he's in the same scene as Gu,
Yeah, but the thing is, I want to expect that. I really like his jokes, mainly because he has the same kind of obsession with Go-chan like his brother did. But he does it in a hilarious way. You always see Rin is like pulling him away. And I think the first time, though, even the way they got him to join the club was like, hey, you know what? There are going to be a lot of cute girls there. And then, he goes there and it's just kids. So yeah, I found that was hilarious the first time.
That part had me thinking, is Rin into Lolicon? Because he basically thinking that
Tyson, don't go there.
I'm thinking.
I think Rin is just like, he is not interested in anything. The reason I say that is because you never see him have some sort of weird fetish or some sort of romantic interest in other characters. Most characters really don't, but you can tell Haru loves the water to such an extent, and then Rin, I don't know what Rin likes. Like, he's just there. You know, he doesn't really show what he enjoys and what he likes. Unless it's his competitive nature that's doing that. I don't know.
It's probably his competitive nature, but there's something that Kevin said that I want to touch about.
Yeah.
Considering that the focus in season 2 has been taken away from the Iwatobi Swing Club and given to the Samezuka Swing Club, we can pretty much say that Rin's conflicts have been resolved in season 1, so he really doesn't work as a punching bag. Sosuke has his own issues, which we can probably talk about later. Aishiro also has his own problems, so not putting Momotaro as a kind of punching bag or as the buffoon of the team would make watching those episodes quite dark. I don't know.
Yeah. I agree.
I agree with that, but I mean, I agree with that. I'm not saying Momo is a bad character. I'm just saying he's not gonna be on my top 3 characters list. I mean, yeah, he's funny, but he's so 2D to me that it's not deserving of a high spot in my favorite characters list.
But the thing is, no one is asking you to do that. But at the same time, he's somewhat necessary to the storyline. As Tyson said, it would be incredibly depressing, especially to watch what's his name? Forgot his name. Sosuke's story. That's his story. I thought he was a douchebag at the beginning. I was like, fuck you, Sosuke. I'm not gonna like you. And I said at the beginning of the anime, I said I'm gonna fucking hate Sosuke. But towards the end, I was like crying. I was like, whoa.
I was like,
I want him to be my senpai. It's like,
you the real MVP, senpai. Sosuke, or Brosuke.
Yeah, he is.
More like Brosuke.
We can't keep on using Brosuke for everything.
No, he's Brosuke.
Is he more Brosuke than Yosuke?
No, of course not. But
then he can't have the title of Brosuke.
But he's still a bro. I was literally always watching his episode. I was like, what a bro! Like,
okay, so
damn.
Are you saying you want him to be your senpai?
No, but I was like, the amount of dedication he has.
If he could be your senpai, would you let him be your senpai?
No, because he'd be kind of a fucked up senpai because he acts like a douchebag to you and your friends, and then
but look how he treated Ai-chan.
That's what I was going to say.
And we already said you're Nagisa, so
look at
Nagisa's
how he treated another team, though.
So...
No, but look, he fucking hated everyone on the Iwatobi Swim Club.
Hold on, Sosuke doesn't hate the whole Iwatobi Swim Club. He just hates Haru.
Yeah, and the thing is, what kind of supports that is the fact that when he's kind of explaining it, and when he was a kid, before Rin goes off to Australia, there's a scene between him and Sosuke, like a flashback scene, and Rin is like, oh guys, hey Sosuke, I just found a team that I can swim with, a team that I want to swim with. And I feel that's kind of made Sosuke feel like, oh, so I'm being replaced with a newer model. See how it is? So he kind of feels jealous in some way because Rin is like giving his love and attention to the free members, because that's how it is. Like, let's be honest, he was just jealous and he was like, you know what, I'm just gonna overtrain, and that it kind of fucked him up in a way.
He didn't overtrain because of that. He overtrained because he wanted to keep up with Rin. He got pissed because he didn't want to get replaced.
But still, why was Rin in himself, was motivated? He was motivated because of Haru. Do you see what I mean?
Exactly.
And even Sosuke
but he didn't know about the rivalry though. He didn't know about Haru until he got back though.
No, he knew about Haru.
No, and Sosuke kind of acknowledged the rivalry between Haru and Rin when Sosuke came out of Samezuka all the way to Iwatobi, seeing Haru in a slump, basically just trying to get him to snap out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So in a way, I can interpret that as Sosuke acknowledging Haru as Rin's rival.
And he said that, and he said, I'm not gonna. He said he's not gonna like be friends with him or accept him.
Mm-hmm.
But he said you have to keep on what you're doing because that's what motivates Rin,
mm-hmm.
and that's what keeps on Rin. It gives Rin the power to go on. I know it sounds really like romantic in a sense, but and that's another thing. Like, this anime feels very because I come from a background of very romantic animes and stuff like that. And because of all the drama in this anime, it might as well have been Toradora. Do you see what I mean? There's so much drama, and I'm trying to figure out where's the romance in this, and I was waiting for like some sort of romance scene. There wasn't. I wish there was.
Well,
But, you know,
technically, if you want to call the fact that Haru moved to Tokyo with Makoto a romance scene or an
It's not a
acknowledgement
romance.
of
No,
the
he-
sheep.
No. That ship doesn't go. You know what? What
No,
other ship?
no,
That ship is going to be sunk right now. Because
that ship
at the
is
end-
canon.
No,
That
no,
ship
no, no,
is canon.
No,
it's not.
Tyson, I agree. Stop. No.
Do you know why? Because Rin and Haru at the end, where they're on the international stage, it doesn't make any sense. First of all, because I'll have to ask Kevin a question. Kevin, in
Yeah.
professional swimming, are you allowed to have more than one person like from the same country representing that country in the
International
race?
swimming.
Yeah,
Realize-
like in the
dude,
Olympics or something.
I'm not an international athlete, man. I can't tell you that. I mean,
I know, but you should know about this. Like in terms of the Olympics or something, are they allowed to have more than one representative of that country there?
I think they do, but I can't be sure of that.
for relays, I'm pretty
Because
sure it's everyone on the team is from the same country. Else it wouldn't make
Yeah,
sense.
I know, but are they allowed to race against each other in different lanes? I don't think so.
I don't know about
I
that.
don't see why not, because in the individual events they race against each other too.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
In
because
in prefecturals, there were remember when Momotaro was swimming in the end lane, and there was one guy from Samezuka there as well. So I suppose that individual matches that
and
it's okay.
another thing is Makoto was with Haru when they done the 200 meters free style, isn't it?
Yeah, that was kind of a derp moment for all of us, really, for all of us.
Because I was kind of confused because I thought because you know at the end they're swimming on an international pool and whatever, and I thought, okay, if Haru is representing Japan, then does that mean Rin's representing Australia? Because
Yeah,
he was
Rin-
training in Australia, so
Yeah, Rim is representing Australia there.
But that's another thing. He's not a citizen of Australia. Well, we don't know that, but he's probably not a citizen of Australia because Japanese people don't have dual citizenships. So if he gave up his citizenship for Japan in order to be an Australian citizen, then he wouldn't be a Japanese citizen anymore. So bam, done. So I don't.
It's probably that that Ring got a visa to study abroad. I don't think there's many confusions in regards to in that exception.
Does that mean he's allowed to compete on a professional level
Probably,
on behalf of Australia?
probably,
We're getting into technicalities here, but
or if anything, he's competing at the university level, like against the University of Tokyo Haru, for instance.
possibly, but actually, yeah, that could make sense. See, there's a lot of like weird, awkward loopholes towards the end of the anime, and that's why I feel that the anime kind of got lazy. Like Kyoto Animation kind of got lazy towards the end, and a lot of things don't necessarily work. I'm just saying, like, you know, we know that Rin went to Australia. We know that Haru went to. We don't actually know where Haru went. We just know that he went to Tokyo with
He went to Tokyo with Makoto. So
and what is Makoto studying as well? Like Makoto said, he wants to be
he wants to be a
swimming
coach.
instructor.
He wants to be a coach.
Yeah, but what is he studying? Like you see him studying, and I'm like, okay, is he studying biology? Is he studying chemistry?
No,
I don't know if in universities in England do this, but at least in the university I attended to, there was a not a scholarship. There was a bachelor's degree for what's it called? It's something related. It's something related to sports or something. There was a bachelor there. It's like a
sports science or something.
sports science. That's it. That's
Yeah,
it.
we have that here as well. Yeah.
So we can assume that Makoto was studying towards that degree to be a coach, because if anything, he realized during his race against Haru is that he's not really fit to compete internationally. But then up next was his episode. So, and he found a love for coaching.
Yeah, that was what I was gonna say. He did find a love for coaching within that. And the thing is, when he wanted to swim, he wasn't like Haru, who wanted to swim because he loved the feeling of the water and whatnot. He wanted to swim because Haru was swimming. You see what I mean? Like that was his motivation. Once again, was Haru just to start swimming, which I find very admirable.
It's like a triangle here because
Yeah.
because or I think we made the distinction in the free season 1 episode. It's like everything revolves around Haru, and like Makoto swings because of Haru, Rin swings because of Haru. Although Makoto and Haru don't do it in the same competitive spirit as Rin and Haru does, or at least I suppose I can say that that Haru doesn't see Rin as a rival as well. It's just that it's so low key that sometimes it's hard to figure out. I know it's well known that Rin considers Haru a rival. There are several things that I want to touch on before handing the microphone over to Kevin. Because I'm gonna forget my train of thought. Mm-hmm. In the beginning, there was a mention of I wanted to make the correction. The episode in which apparently Nagisa's parents are in there. I think it was episode 6, and you can see them on the background, even though they were not like drawn. That you can see. Okay, so these are Nagisa's parents, father or mother, something like that. That they came out there to see him swim, to kind of find out why Nagisa was so adamant about staying in the swim club. And also, I wanted to touch character episodes later, but since Nagisa's was already brought up, I may as well touch on it. I also had issues with the pacing. Like Bish said, I don't see Nagisa like the type of person that is all depressing and everything. Mm-hmm. I really take issue with that. Even though it sold me a completely different side of Nagisa that we don't see normally. I think it would have been better off without that. Although
I agree, like it feels like it was forced.
Yeah, it really felt forced, and even even its attempts at jokes when Nagisa was holed up in Haru's house and Makoto tries to convince him, Haru tries to convince him, then Rei tries to convince him. It was supposed to be a funny moment, but I personally didn't find it funny because I kind of see the point in why they would do that because I believe I mentioned it at the beginning, but if I didn't, I'm gonna mention it again. The setting is already established. This season is all about the characters and their struggles, because the show is basically okay. So you're graduating soon. What are you gonna do? The drama revolves around that. And that's why, at least myself, I see it that way. That there were character episodes that touch on the different characters and their particular struggles. And Nagisa's just, I can see it working within the macro of what the season was trying to do. But I particularly don't see that it worked out. At least that's how I felt about that episode. It was probably the weakest character episode, the Nagisa one.
Agree.
And they closely followed by the Makoto one. But I want to touch on that later. Kevin, you were going to say something?
Yeah, so I actually think I disagree. On the contrary, I think that the Makoto and Nagisa episodes were my two favorites. To be honest, if you were asking me what the weakest episode in terms of character development was for me, I'd say the Haru one. I mean, I'll comment on the Nagisa one first. I think that, you might think that, hey, you know what, this is completely out of character for Nagisa. He's supposed to be this really upbeat, positive character all the time. But I think this is exactly what the staff wanted to create. It's this message that, just because you're positive and cheerful on the outside does not mean that you don't have your own problems that you're hiding. Some people just hide it better than others, and Nagisa's a perfect example of this. And another reason I really like the episode is just that, to me, as a student, with all the studying, I completely relate to his problems. I think with this episode, the anime really connects with the audience, and I think that it's a very real struggle for a lot of people nowadays, especially with all this pressure being put on students to do well. And it's just this crushing feeling, And Nagisa's in this dilemma where he has to choose between, do I...
I personally felt that narrative of the pressure crushing people felt more like me as a viewer that it convinced me that it was true was precisely in the Haru episode, because that dreamscape
Yes.
of just Haru trying to swing to a plethora of mannequins, that was scary. That was scary, and it drove the nail home that this is the kind of pressure Haru is dealing with. I mean, I already like Haru within the context of his character, but this just kind of blew my mind open. Like, this is what Haru is facing, and when you consider all the events of season 1 and what we've seen so far of season 2, because I watched it while it was being simulcasted, it kind of all adds up, and I can pretty much say that I had nightmares with those mannequins. Because it was
okay. Taking notes. Tyson has mannequin phobia. All right, got it.
Not really mannequin phobia. It's just that the scene was so perfectly executed that it worked for what it was trying to go for. Like for instance, what is horror? Some people will call it a series of jump scares, but when it's done perfectly, because it plays on the psychology of the viewer, that's what I felt this episode was trying to do. And wow, I mean, KyoAni pulled it off perfectly, and it was beautiful. That scene alone, it was beautiful and frightening at the same time.
The thing is, I feel that they spent too much time on Haru. Like, the Haru scene, I agree with you, very nice, very lovely, and whatever. They spent I think maybe 3 episodes on him, and then like 2 minutes on Nagisa's backstory, and I feel like, okay, the thing is that made me feel that, okay, Nagisa's backstory is a bunch of bullshit. Yeah, you can relate to it and whatnot, but I feel that if they gave him a little more time in terms of actually explaining his backstory, or as you mentioned before with their movie, they're gonna do it based on the light novel. I'm not sure if the light novel actually touches on Nagisa's kind of backstory or not, but if they'd done it in that form and then spent a little bit more time, because to be honest, episode 13 was a lot of just rehashing of old episodes. If they took all of that bullshit out, where there's like a flashback in every single episode almost, if they took that all out and gave Nagisa more time to actually explain his story, it would have been a lot better. But I feel that it's just unbelievable, because he's not given a lot of time, and I just can't really get myself involved and invested in Nagisa's story as much as Makoto. Now, I have to agree with Kevin on this. Makoto's story was amazing, and it was kind of predictable, let's be honest. I'm going to be the first one to put my hands up and say it's predictable. Especially, he done it like, what's the kid name? Hayato, the kid who can't swim and whatever, and he was afraid of swimming. How the hell does he know that, oh, I'm just going to make him do the backstroke and he's going to love it? Like, how did he know? Like, do you see what I mean?
He didn't.
It just felt
he wanted to try though.
He didn't, but he tried, and I feel like it felt very like cliche. That he was like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna try the same thing." I was like, Haru's suggestion of you have to accept the water, that made more sense to me. Obviously, you can't really.
I thought that was such bullshit. I was like, that is such bullshit.
It's bullshit. It's Haru bullshit, but it works.
You must feel the water.
No,
flowing through the body.
That's the show's attempt at delivering a joke.
You're gonna go up to a kid and tell him that? Like, are you?
Yeah, but I know, but you can't just expect the kid to be like, oh, I'm just gonna do backstroke now, and I'm like, oh, that's amazing. No, you could have still drowned.
Makoto's reasoning actually makes sense, because he was like, you know what, I was afraid of the water because he was drowning it. So when he's doing every other stroke, he's literally head down in the water. Whereas Makoto is like, you know what, I like backstroke because I'm looking up at the sky.
Yeah, but
and how does just like being all poetic?
Once again, it seemed very like cliche. And it's like, you're not going to expect the kid to love it first time and have the same exact revelation, which he did. And I'm like, okay,
yeah, but like,
fair enough.
Would you expect the kid to understand this poetic thing that Haru's trying to?
No, I don't expect the kid to understand that. But Haru was like that even when he was a kid. But what I'm saying is just like, I don't expect the kid to understand the poetic, and I don't understand the kid to instantly have the Makoto revelation. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. It's like, okay, he tried it once, he's like, oh my god, amazing. No, it's not like that at all.
Yeah, but I don't think they wanted to spend too much time on that though, because like they can't just,
yeah,
you know.
I understand, but it's just like, once again, they could have cut out all of the bullshit within this anime, in terms of filler, in terms of all of that flashback stuff, and they just could have focused on better stories for Makoto and Nagisa. That's what I feel. Like, I feel that Nagisa's episode was a bit meh, and Makoto's episode was good, but there was some, like, discrepancies in it that I'm not a big fan of. And another thing, it kind of ties in with, what's his name? Kisumi? Well, he pissed me off a lot because it just felt that, oh, we're just going to put him in there because he's the only one that can explain that Sosuke has an injured shoulder. That's the only thing. And the way they done it was like, oh yeah, I was in hospital one day and I saw Sosuke with his shoulder in a bandage. Like, what the is that how you're going to explain he was injured? Obviously they explained it further on, but they could have found another kind of segue.
He's kind of useless, to be honest. Like, other than that,
Yeah,
I think
he
his
is.
role's a bit too small. I mean, he could have been a much bigger character.
Yeah,
and he's
that's the thing.
introduced
His
really
brother
late
has
as
more
well.
of a
You know,
role
he's
than
not like,
him.
oh shit, we need a character to, you know,
I
show
think-
everyone that Sosuke is hurt.
I think Kisumi's addition was more fan service in the way that for those who have read High Speed, because Kisumi plays a big role in High Speed, the light novel that Free is based off. And already the big role is taken by Sosuke, which he also comes from High Speed. And it's kind of funny, from what I've read of High Speed, Sosuke's role on High Speed was of lesser importance than in season 2. He's made the focus of the central conflict like several times. For me, the addition of Kisumi was merely fan service for those who have read the source material, and also, at least for me, the reason why Makoto's episode fell short. Precisely because they introduced that character just to say that Sosuke is injured. Not even as a plot device, he's like convincing.
Yeah.
Maybe if they given him more screen time to elaborate more on his character.
They introduced him way too late, in my opinion. Like, I mean, he didn't even have a chance to get fleshed out. I mean, yeah, he's a side character, but like, his only purpose was to, you know, tell everyone that Sosuke was hurt. And after that, he kind of just disappeared. You know, he kind of fell out of relevance.
He was there at the end, I think, on the final relay.
And
that was it. With his brother. And I was like, okay, cool. Good
Although
job.
I would
Kyoto
like to comment
animation.
on the Haru episode.
Okay.
You guys were saying how Haru's episode felt kind of... Nagisa's episode felt kind of rushed. I think, personally, what I noticed is that Tyson actually told me in advance that, you know what, look out for episode 9 because it is the episode where you will stop hating Haru and he actually gets emotions. Right? And he actually does get emotions. I was actually shocked. I was like, holy shit, Haru can actually, you know, show passion and sadness. Holy crap. But the thing is, it's shoved into like the last 3 minutes. Everything else is just kind of. I was
but
actually
he
looking.
has 2 other episodes after that focus on
But
his
they
struggles.
don't need.
I would say the Australia episode is the Ring episode.
That's no. I'd say that's the
No.
real Haru episode.
You think?
My
That's the
opinion.
real
It's
horror
'cause-
episode. I agree.
Because they flesh out Rin and Haru more than they do in a single Haru episode. You know what I mean?
I find it difficult to agree with that because until that episode, until the Australia episode, the audience doesn't really know who Ring is. Like, what's his backstory? And one would think that there are bad memories of Ring here in Australia. Why are you back here? And especially why you're bringing Haru. I felt that was explained in this episode, so maybe you can say that it fleshed out Haru's character more in the sense that it was in this episode where Haru found his drive as to what to do
Exactly.
in
That's
his
exactly
future.
why I think it's.
But for me, that doesn't justify it. Or maybe I'm speaking based on the impact that the Haru episode had on me. That not only the nightmares of the mannequins, but in the way that I see this is what's going on with Haru. This is what is wrong.
Yeah, but that's more like if I may comment, I think the episode 9, it's more like an introduction to Haru's problems. It doesn't fully flesh it out and resolve it. Whereas, I think the second last episode, episode 12, the Rin Haru episode, that's when
12,
they actually show, okay, this is how he's dealing with his problems. This is how they work together, you know, as childhood friends to solve Haru's problems. Whereas, from episode 9, all I got was, okay, Haru's just pouting because he doesn't want to do competitive swimming. That's all I really got. And in the later episodes, that's when they actually show you, okay, this is how he's slowly coming to terms with what he wants to do later on in his life. You know what I mean?
The thing is, I was disappointed. I was happy with, the fact that Haru was showing emotions, and I felt very differently from what I felt like last time when we spoke about Free. But it's like, yeah, he's showing emotions. He was smiling by the end of the series, which was great.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel that his kind of revelation was shitty. They could have, once again, Kyoto Animation could have spent a little more time on that. And it was just like, oh, I saw this guy like swimming at the competitive stage, and now I'm just gonna...
Yeah, it's like it's
wanna
kind
be
of
a
a
professional
180
swimmer.
degree
It's like-
turn, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's like completely... Like, the way I explained this to Tyson earlier was the fact that at the beginning, Sosuke's goal was to be on that competitive level, the international level, with Rin. That was his goal at the beginning. And then, Haru's goal was always like, I'm not going to care about timing. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to swim because I want to swim with my friends and all of that. And then their goals and their dreams switched by the end of the series. Sosuke was the one that was like, you know what? I want to just swim one last time with everyone and just try my best. And, before my arm fucks up. And then Haru was like, yeah, you know what? I want to be on that international level. And it's just like, really? Am I supposed to believe
But he
Haru?
went like a 180 degree turn in like
Yeah,
one
and
episode.
it happened in like one episode. It was just so dumb. Like the whole anime ended to this. I was like, really?
It was kind of
Yeah.
It was kind of predictable to begin with. This is a swimming anime after all. That the main character
they've done it in such a way that they could have done it gradually, as opposed to, yeah, you know what? I'm just gonna go and swim professionally. No, it's just. It seemed very shoddy, and it was like as if they were short for time when they done it. That's what I feel.
I don't think it's it. I think that they weren't really planning for it to be that abrupt. To be honest, I think that this season would be more fitting as a 24 episode anime, because then they'd actually have time to flesh things out more instead of just
or if they done it as a third season.
Yeah, exactly.
But you know what?
Worked.
Kyoto Animation are afraid of third season. And I understand.
Yeah,
They
it's
didn't
like
do
the
that
Valve
with
animes.
It's true. It's
Basically.
exactly the Valve of anime.
the Valve anime. I will concede that the last episodes kind of felt rushed, but since I watched it simulcasted, I kind of came to the conclusion that this was the obvious ending. Like, this is what's going to happen. Maybe if I came to this, if I binge watched it, probably I would think something else. But since I saw this live in 2014, I kind of came to the conclusion that this was what was going to happen. They could have worked it a better way, perhaps. I can also concede that, but I'm not disappointed because of that, because it also fleshed episode 13, the Ring episode. It also fleshed out the relationship between Ring and Haru, and it is one of admiration. It's also one side that you don't get to see in season 1 as well, because it was all about Rin being a tsundere and trying just trying to quit swimming and everything. But episode 13, an insight into the friendship between Rin and Haru. I mean, I can't say I share your disappointment, really. With how we flesh it out, I really can't say that. I really can't.
The thing is, like, as you mentioned before, Kevin, in regards to you saying it should be like a 24 episode or 26 episode anime, I think they could have done it as that, or they could have done it in form of either OVAs or films or whatever.
What do you mean, like character development, or?
Yeah, in terms of, that extra character development.
I would disagree.
And the stuff that
I'll say that.
Why is that?
Later. Okay, well, I think that character development is a very central part of any anime. Even more so for slice of life anime, where you really want to get to know the main crew. You can't just put that on the side and say, okay, we'll just put these in the OVAs, right? It's crucial to the main season. I think if they just simply extend the amount of episodes in the season, they would have had more time to get the pacing right, develop characters more. It's kind of sidetracking.
Another thing is that
for me is kind of
I can understand why Kyoto Animation didn't do it as a 24 or 26 episode anime, mainly because everyone, like Tyson, is like, yeah, free. You know what I mean? They're like really obsessed with it, and it's really popular. So if they kind of delay for any sort of reason, they could potentially lose money. And at the end of the day, this is a business. Like, you see what I mean? They have to make money somehow. So if they delay it and they angry the people on Tumblr and people like Tyson writing emails and stuff, it's like, why isn't the new season out? Why? You know what I mean? So they have to get it out, and I can see it's kind of obvious that it's rushed, especially the fact that they're always cutting to previous series or like flashbacks from previous episodes. You can tell that's like a lazy thing to do, mainly because they want to reuse stuff, so then they have to animate less. Do you see what I mean? Because they just want to do stuff as quickly as possible, and that's my feeling from that. I feel that Free could have been my Free season 2 could have been like my top anime, and it could have surpassed Toradora on my list, and that says a lot. If they gave a lot more time, I feel that Free could have, if they gave it a little bit more time and a little bit more love and whatnot, they could have been like the best anime ever. But you know,
I feel like I should comment on the whole reusing animation stuff, mostly because I've seen Shirobako, and I kind of have an idea of how the production of anime works. But it's best that I save that for that actual episode. Just kind of want to throw that out there. In terms of character episodes, we kind of touch up on the Sosuke one. Do you guys want to elaborate further, or do you think you said everything that you had to say?
In terms of the Sosuke one,
yeah, the Sosuke one.
I really I used to hate Sosuke, and then I saw that episode and I was like, whoa, man, you know, he tried his hardest and he never gave up. He said it himself, he even wanted to fuck up his own arm just so he can continue. And even his admiration, like, I have so much respect for him towards the end, because, you know, he done that last relay and I was like, you know what, you're a cool guy, Sosuke. And even the fact that he was helping out Ai-chan with his training, and you know, at the end of the anime, Ai-chan became the captain.
Oh yeah,
and he wouldn't have become the captain if Sosuke didn't train him well enough. Because at the beginning he was having slower times than everyone else in the team.
It's a success story, the one of Ai-chan.
To be honest, I think that Ai-chan's story is the reason I really did not like him being appointed captain is that, yes, his determination's admirable, but the thing is, on a swimming team, you know, times are what matters. It's not just, oh, you practice more, you get to be captain. And it's one of the things where I feel like, you know, this is kind of rushed. This doesn't happen in real life. It's like, how do just doing a 180 in one episode? You know, shit like this just doesn't happen. I think that, Ai-chan, his determination is certainly admirable, and I really like how they
but the thing is, he improved his times. He got really fast times. Yeah, but you see what I mean? He broke a record. I think he broke.
He does not have the attitude of a leader, in my opinion. Like you can't be a leader if you can't lead other people.
Notice me, so
he's always like, I don't have self-confidence. Like, can you picture Ai-chan switching places with Sosuke, like having the courage to go up and say, you know what, don't give up and stuff? Like,
no,
I can't picture
wouldn't
that,
say so. I can't picture that either. But I feel, like you said, there's no other character that they could have picked as captain, because everyone else is generic characters. So they had to pick someone.
Yeah,
there was Momo, to be honest, but he was kind of
Momo. I don't know. I don't think he would work as captain.
To be honest,
he can't be picked. He can't be picked as captain anyway, because he's not going to be a third year.
Exactly. That's it.
He was a first year, and he's going to be a second year.
Yeah, so big. Yeah, so the senpai here would be Ai-chan, and
because he even says it. I senpai. Well, I can't, he calls him senpai. So so he can't be captain. And who else can? No one, because everyone else are generic characters.
I think that, to be honest, I'd rather leave it open than just kind of appoint Ai-chan. Like,
that's true. But I feel that Kyoto Animation did that for closure, because there's a lot of people expecting a season 3, and they've done this so that, you know, it's pretty much a middle finger to everyone. You know. Yeah, to people like Tyson are probably expecting a season 3, but they're doing this as a massive middle finger to everyone and say, you know what, fuck you guys, we're not going to do a season 3. That's pretty much what it is.
I think it's more like, I don't think they're really trying to say, you know what, we're done with this. It's just that they're trying to tie up loose ends. So if there isn't a season 3, which there most likely won't be,
No,
all the questions that have been asked throughout this entire series will have been answered. Except, I don't know if you guys agree with me on this. Concerning the finale, I was kind of disappointed by Sosuke's ending, because he was like, yeah, I'll see what I'll do, I'm not sure about my dreams.
Yeah, he was very indecisive.
It was really
but he said he
ambiguous.
already got his dream now.
No, hold on. Before you call Sosuke indecisive, I want you to consider this. We came from a guy that was dead set on quitting swimming to a guy that is at least open to the idea of submitting himself to an operation and possibly swimming again, possibly in the university level.
Okay, I agree, Tyson. I'm not saying his character development isn't done well. I'm just saying that the way it ended was really open, and that's not a bad thing when you're having another season. But in the case where a third season is really unlikely, I think it's kind of a middle finger in a way to end it on a cliffhanger for Sosuke, because by the end I was like, I really liked Sosuke's character, and to see him kind of like uncertain about his future and facing the possibility that we will never actually know what he does kind of irks me a bit. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I do, but I don't know.
What if Haru never decided that he wanted to be a he wanted to swim competitively, right?
Mm-hmm.
It would have been really, kind of, it would have ticked you off a bit. I mean, it's not really annoying, but still.
I don't like Haru to the extent that it would be ticked off if he decided that he didn't want to swing competitively.
I would have been ticked off because he's the main character. I mean,
yeah, and all the signs point to that. Like, that is what's gonna happen. The thing is, how you get there. Like, you know the destination, but which road are you gonna take to get there? So basically, it becomes a passage. I guess you can call it, in which you just enjoy the ambience and whatnot. Yeah. But I'm probably not making sense right now. And even so, I know Bish likes to poke fun at me for being the huge free fan here, but I'm actually not expecting a season 3. There is not enough material here to make a season 3.
And even if there was,
probably a movie.
It's the same kind of issue with K-On! Because K-On! is the anime where it's set in high school, and you're kind of leaving two members there as third years and the others in university, and it's just like, how can you do that? I can understand why Kyoto Animation wouldn't go for season 3, because it's going to be very, very difficult to have Haru and Makoto in university and then Nagisa and whatever. And the thing is, you're going to have to show the second years, and you're going to have to show the first years as well. And from what we saw in the anime, they're generic characters, the new swim team members.
Exactly.
And it's too much to do. Like, because then you have to put character development into the new characters, and then you have to continue the old characters, and it's just too much, and it will get into a mess.
Yeah, it will become a mess.
I think that Free even has a bigger problem than Can, because they made it very clear at the end of the season that everybody is pursuing their own dream. Haru and Rin are going to continue to swim competitively. Mako just doesn't want to do that. It's not his thing. He wants to teach other people how to swim, while Nagisa and Rei just want to stay in the club. So we have so many different branching paths, even more so than in K-On!, that it would be impossible to keep up with all of these different branching storylines.
True. Unless they do like a spin-off, like another spin-off, like as you mentioned, because Tyson mentioned that the movie is going to be based off High Speed, so it's going to be like a prequel to Free,
exactly,
in a sense. And unless they do like a completely spin-off anime, like Nagisa the anime, I would love that. I want that to happen, but it's not going to happen. I don't think many people love Nagisa to my level.
To our level, basically.
So you're saying you accept Nagisa as your Lord and Savior?
I accept Nagisa as my Lord and Savior.
Oh yeah.
I have no comment on that. I'm still.
Kevin,
he's a good character. I don't.
You're the Nagisa of this group. Come on.
No, but I'm the cynical Nagisa of this group.
So you're Rei. You're pretty much. Are you saying you're Rei?
No, Rei. Okay, don't get me wrong. Rei's not a bad character, but he's like my literal opinion of him is just meh. He's not exactly the most original or best
No,
slice
he
of life
isn't.
character I've seen.
It's true, but at the same
Right.
time, I kind of respected him more in season 2 because he became more of like a wise person, and he had the guts and he had the balls to say, you know what, Haru, you're being a prick, and you know what, Nagisa, you're doing something.
Way though in the first season, if you remember at the end.
Yeah,
how he
in the
confronted him.
first season he was being a dick, but in the second
Yeah.
season I'm like, you know what, you're awesome, man. I respect you, Ray, because you're confident in what you're doing now, and I like that. You improved.
I wanted to make a comment on Sosuke. That, like Bish, I didn't like him at all, but I came to respect him during his episode. There's not really much I can say that has already been said. It's like Bish and me are on the same page here. Also, fun fact about the ending, like past the credits and everything. That scene, it's based off the concept video of Free, like the whole Haru jumping into the pool and meeting Ring in the international stage. That was actually pulled from the concept video, so it's a little nice fan service there.
Are you saying was it pulled directly from there, or were they like reusing?
Not
animation?
directly, but
okay.
but
So
it's
was
similar.
inspired by it.
But it's similar. Like if I were to show you now that ending and the concept video, you would say these are alike. It's just that the generic characters were replaced with Haru and Ring, basically. And we're missing Ray, although for me that episode was forgettable, but I didn't dislike it as much as the Nagisa one. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I didn't really pay too much attention
To
to
the
Ray's
Ray.
episode.
Today's episode. You know what? I'll comment on that just a bit. I didn't just like Bish. I didn't really pay attention to it. I was like, nah. And I'll go back to what I said in the first season on how I thought that Ray's problem with not being able to swim is just completely stupid, because I don't think it is possible to fail that badly at swimming, especially when you have pro swimmers as friends. Because literally the only thing he was doing wrong was that he wasn't floating, because he was like, it's when you're supposed to have a straight body, because that's how you float. If you tuck your butt in underwater, you're gonna sink like a rock.
No, but that was already addressed in season 1. Like they like Haru, Makoto, and Nagisa try to teach Ray how to swing, but they completely fail at it.
Yeah, but the only thing he mastered though was butterfly, and in season 2, he finally learns how to do the other strokes. But
because of Ring.
Yeah, but I still think that the fact that he couldn't do any of the other strokes because he couldn't float on water was just really, really stupid. No offense, Ray.
That would have been a critique best made for Free season 1, but not really in season 2. It's like in season 2 he's trying to be, oh, senpai noticed me, so I'm gonna
but like look, if you look at Ray, he's a guy that went
wait, guys. If I kind of interrupt here, I kind of agree with you, Kevin, because it is kind of an irrational thing. Like, from a real life perspective, that doesn't make any sense. Do you see what I mean?
He's a guy that's swimming in professionals and goes into nationals. How can you not float on the surface of the water, you know?
And
I think
feel
it's more like a
something-
joke. It wasn't meant to be taken seriously,
I don't
but
think it's a joke. I think it's just a mistake on Kyoto Animation's part, because they seem not to be thinking about everything properly. That's what I think it is. I don't think they're doing their research.
I disagree, because
to such a extent.
Did you mean to
I'm
say
not
like you
hating on
didn't?
Kyoto Animation, but I'm just saying it's like I feel that they haven't really taken the time, and because when you don't take the time, you get a lot of loopholes in everything.
It's like Bish is suggesting that most of the budget for the Free episode just went into trips to pools and see all the pretty men, so they could nail that in the art.
95% of the budget just came for those ab shots and those butt shots, you know?
Yeah, and then the other 5% was getting the American actors who trying to do Australian accents.
And they were left with like that 0.1%. They're like, you know what? We need to develop Ray's character this season. Fuck.
All right,
but in all seriousness, Bish, do you mean to say that perhaps they didn't pay attention to detail?
Yeah, that's what
okay,
I tried to mention.
I have to disagree, okay? Because I think it was just simply a little, nudge back to their running gag that they had back in season 1 where Ray couldn't swim completely. Because I think that in this anime and in the series in general, one thing they do very well is getting the swimming rate. Like, maybe the abs thing is completely overboard, but like the actual swimming itself and the animation in the pool is done really well. I have to give it to them. So props to them. The animation looks really smooth. It actually looked believable, like, you know, what people would look like in real life as they swam. Except the finale with dolphins and stuff, you know, that was a bit of a kind of ridiculous, but...
So you say that that's never happened to you? You've never started
No,
swimming?
I've never just, like,
massive...
yeah, freaking killer whale, you know, beside me.
You never know. I found that bit kind of awkward. It was just like, oh, I'm swimming now, and there's a massive killer whale. Like, they're called killer whales for a reason. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
The thing is, the last episode to me was just terribly disappointing. I don't know if you guys agree with that. Like, the final race was not as fun to watch as that the one before that, where Iwatobi was going against what was it again? Tyson Same
episode the episode in which they race against Samezuka in regionals.
Yeah, where it's like a near tie basically between the two teams.
The tie was done in prefecturals. Like regionals, Iwatobi won. Let's see, prefectural.
Didn't Samezuka win one of the relays?
No, hold on. Where is it that they got the tie?
No, they didn't win the relay. It was actually Iwatobi that won the relay.
In
Wait,
regionals,
did they not win
in regionals?
I remember one where they won or something, or is really really close.
I don't think it was a relay.
No, I think I know the tie, and it was individual Rin versus Haru. They made the exact time.
I know for a fact that. Okay, well, it's not important. I know that for a fact one of the relays between Iwatobi and Samezuka was really close, and that got my blood pumping. It was really exciting to watch. And then we get to the grand finale at the Nationals, and we have dolphins and penguins swimming in the water. You know, it's kind of anticlimactic. You're building upon this, you're getting us hyped up for this, and then this happens.
Honestly, I think you're being dismissive, because in the context of what that swimming is supposed to mean, is that they came together as a group, and precisely when killer whales, dolphins, penguins swim beside you, it's reflecting the mascot of the character.
I know the symbolism.
Yeah, it's purely symbolism.
No. It doesn't make any sense, because why the hell did Nagisa not get the penguins? Because he said in the anime that he wanted to be a penguin trainer, and I thought, you know what, Nagisa, penguins, that could have worked, but no, he got killer whale.
Because it would be too similar to the finale in season 1. That's why they didn't show their mascot, but rather the other's mascot.
The thing is, I don't think they really paid attention to the animals that were assigned. It's just like, in general, they're one with nature or something.
Yeah, that's another one.
Like,
why was butterflies in the water? Like, they can't swim.
Well, are you asking why butterflies are... Why a technique is named butterfly?
No, I'm talking about, you know, when Haru was swimming, there was butterflies that came out of the bubbles of water, and I'm like, every other animal were able to swim. You know, the dolphins, you had the killer whale, you had the penguins. I never seen butterflies being able to swim. Yes, I know that might be a reference to the show.
You're asking us to make sense out of something that doesn't have sense. Like, if you think about
they might as well put a dragon in the water and made it swim.
Hey, it's not our fault that the Kyoto Animation selected butterflies as race mascot.
The thing is, though, that I do agree with you, Tyson. It is supposed to, you know, symbolize them working together and them enjoying swimming and whatnot. But you have to admit, having penguins and killer whales swim like alongside you in the pool is just a teeny weeny bit, you know, cliche. Just a tiny bit.
Yeah, but they were trying to be cliche. Come on.
If I'm going to acknowledge that, I might as well acknowledge that the whole mascot thing is ridiculous. And I personally don't see it that way.
Well, I don't care about what animal is assigned to what character. It's just the fact that you're having, you know, flowers and rainbows and animals swim in the last episode is just kind of anticlimactic, because it's not something that is exciting to me personally, you know?
Do you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of Power Rangers. Like the Power Rangers movie, if you remember it. Was it Power Rangers in Space or something like that? It was like the one with the purple goop. And
I
they had,
can't
like,
remember
spirit
because I'm
animals.
pretty sure what you're referencing probably came out before I was born.
That's way before. That's like in the 90s. Tyson might
The only
remember.
Power
Yeah.
Rangers I've seen was Mighty Morphin. And I think
it was Mighty Morphin Rangers, the film for Mighty Morphin Rangers.
I haven't seen the film.
Oh, it's amazing because then they get, instead of mechs, they have like spirit animals. It's great. And you know, Johnny Young Bosch, his one is the frog.
Yeah,
And then there's this whole thing within in the film where he's like, "Why am I the frog, man?" And he's like, he gets really depressed about it. And I'm like, you know what? I didn't think that guy would be Yu Narukami, but anyway.
Okay, so with character episodes out of the way, let's focus a little bit on the musical score.
Oh, I really want to talk about this.
Talk away, bitch. Talk away.
I'm really happy about this. The music was exceptional in this anime, mainly because there was no dubstep at all. It's
Thank you.
It's as if they heard, as if Kyoto Animation heard the episode
that we're bitching about dubstep
that we did,
And they're like, you know what, we have to remove dubstep.
even though that we released the episode during season 2 was released, I think.
Yeah.
Which doesn't make any sense, so they probably didn't hear it, but I really want to think that they did.
But
they took out the dubstep. I'm really happy about that. They replaced it with some electro music, which is alright, to be honest, especially for the swimming scenes. Like, I got into that. I was like,
oh my
yeah.
god, yes! For the choice of music in the swimming scenes alone, I actually felt that I was watching a sports anime instead of
Yeah, exactly. I was like, and the thing is, in season 1, the dubstep was like at the worst time.
Yeah!
It was like before they started, like before they even jumped in.
And it was the most stereotypical dubstep ever, you know, like
Yeah, it was like complete. Yeah, exactly. It was like random dubs, like that's exactly what it was. But they took that all out, and I'm so happy they did. And then they replaced it with, like, you know, some orchestral music, especially you know, in the emotional scenes. You know, the final race, that was all like orchestral music, which was great. It wasn't even electro. I thought it would be, but it was like lovely, like violins and pianos and stuff. It was like, wow. And the music, especially in the anime, is really important to me, and I think that also adds to the emotion, and that's what also made me feel that it was a romance anime at one point, because romantic animes tend to have orchestral music a lot, like violins at really important moments of the anime, like really emotional moments.
reminds
stuff
me
like
of
that.
Blast of Tempest, especially with
Yeah.
that soundtrack. You know, like soundtracks cannot be disregarded, especially when you want to get emotions going and feels going. And I think they did it really well. So instead of having, you know, like some guy dropping the beat in an emotional scene, you actually had music that went along with it, and it made a lot more sense this time around than it did in the first season.
I will always be the first one to say that audio complements video, and that's the way it should be.
Yeah,
That's the way it
it
should
is.
be.
It's completely true. Another thing is, I didn't even, at points, the music felt natural to the point that I didn't even notice there was music in the background. You see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And the music just elevated and kind of added to certain moments where it needed to be, and I found it was just perfect score. Perfect score.
Yeah, like the music doesn't get in the way of what is happening. Like
Exactly. Unlike the dubstep from first season.
Exactly. If you don't notice that the background music is there, it's actually doing a good job because it's making you focus on what it should be happening. I can confidently say that the music score, added up with the dramatic scenes throughout the season, made me cry more times than one. And mostly because I care for these characters, but the music, it dialed up that tenfold. There is something that you wanted to mention, Kevin?
Yeah. Well, first thing is, I just want to let you guys know, if you didn't already, I kind of have a feeling that Tyson wouldn't like dubstep no matter what. It's just not his jam, you know? He kind of...
No, it isn't.
It really isn't. He just does not like dubstep at all. So I'm wondering if there's any special case where he would actually like dubstep in anime. But anyways, second point, yeah, I do agree with what you say. Sometimes music's so good that it makes you just don't hear it. But to be honest, to me, the best sort of music is a music that just makes you stop, pause the show, and just go, okay, you know what? I need to find the name of that song, because, you know, it just stands out. And good music has to be able to stand on its own without the visual component. And while I do think that the music in this season is a big step forward from music in the first season. I don't think that would be a match against, Attack on Titan soundtrack or Boss of Tempest soundtrack, etc., etc.
Mm-hmm.
Well, bear in mind that Attack on Titan is, I would say, a much bigger budget show. Completely. And, it has a larger following. So they can afford to... And bear in mind, Kyoto Animation is a small studio. That's another thing we forgot to mention. They're extremely small. I can't remember how many people exactly. Do you remember, Tyson?
I can look it up, but I don't... but I don't have the number, right now. There is something that I wanted to comment on that I forgot to bring it up during the character episodes, but I do think it's important that we point it out.
Yeah.
And it would be a disservice to not just do it. The fight between Makoto and Haru in episode, I believe it was...
Near the end. I think it's 10?
It was episode 11. Episode 11.
Right before he leaves, right?
Yeah, right before he leaves. And I will start with this. That fight was important because it nailed down how dependent Haru is on Makoto. And we're talking about Makoto, who has found his dream, and Haru, who hasn't found his dream yet, and always relying on him. It's like Haru's safe ground, which was Makoto, is moving, has been swept off him, and is moving over to Tokyo. So I think that fight was important, super important for it to happen.
Yeah.
What do you guys thought of that particular scene?
So, just have a question. Do you mean important as to the entire season, or just for Haru's development specifically?
For Haru's development specifically.
Okay, yeah, for that I definitely agree. Although I think that if we're going to choose one event that's kind of characterized the season for me, would definitely be the conflict between, what's his face? Sosuke and Rin. I mean, their relationship, I think, was probably the central part of the season. Everything revolved around it. Though I do agree that Makoto's fight and Haru's fight was important for his development, but, I mean, I personally didn't take much note of it when it happened. Probably because it was resolved quickly enough. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, Tyson.
Mm-hmm.
The fight happened at the end, towards the later half of episode 11, and was resolved early on episode 13, right? So it wasn't a huge problem. I don't know if they put enough emphasis on the conflict between Makoto and Haru, because I was being distracted by Rin and Haru, their relationship during the Australia episode. So I kind of forgot about the fight that happened with Makoto, so I didn't pay too much attention to it. But I do think it's pretty important for Haru's development, because, it helps him come to terms with, what he wants to do with his life, and what his friends mean, to him.
Yeah, I probably noticed, mostly because after that fight, hey, dude, that was so off-putting that you're basically closing a fight with a relationship of probably Haru's relationship with Makoto is important. So having that jank off him in basically Haru running away when Makoto what he's doing is expressing the team's desire for him to better himself and find what he wants to do with something. Again, Haru is one of my favorite characters, so I did notice that.
I'm also curious, is he your favorite character, or just one of your favorites?
One of my favorites. If I'm gonna be forced to choose, if we're choosing best boy, I'm split between Haru and Rin. I'm split.
One thing that I want to mention, specifically with the Australia episode, is the events that happen in it. Because to me, yeah, there were some serious bits, but there's a lot of comedy, especially them sharing a bed.
Oh my god!
And one thing I was
the dojins
pissed off about was if director of fanfics, Tyson, get ready for that. But one thing I was kind of annoyed about was the woman. What's it called? What do they call them? The woman at the service desk at the hotel.
Yeah, she was a dick.
She was a douchebag, and I feel that. Why did they make her like? She was like, if you don't want to share a bed, then you can fucking go to another hotel. That's what I felt. I'm sorry for the bad Australian accent, but it just came out. But I felt that she was being very unnecessary, like to be like that. Like she was acting like a bitch, like a total bitch. Like if I was the manager of the hotel, I would have fired her on the spot, because you know what, I wouldn't tell them, oh, just go to another hotel and be that rude about it. You see what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely see
that. That was a dick move. I mean, I don't think that I would want to be treated like, if someone said that to me in a hotel, I'd be like, okay, you know what? Fuck you. Give me a refund. I'm leaving, because that's not how you talk to people in a hotel. You know? But
especially because he's Japanese, like...
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe she was being racist. I don't know.
Maybe.
But the thing is, another thing is that might have been some sort of... I don't know how to explain it. Like, I'm not sure if people from Australia would have been offended by that, because other people will be watching this around the world. Maybe some Japanese people, and they might be like, oh, okay, so this is what Australians are like? I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Because a lot of people can get other impressions from different cultures and whatnot from anime. That's a given right there.
I can pretty much say, because I've seen it with my own eyes, that our anime, in the day when the Australian episode came out, were mostly focused on the authenticity of the place. And they would pretty much say, hey, this is really Australia. And even people that live in Australia pitching in and saying, hey, they did a pretty good job of emulating our place.
But the thing is, it didn't feel authentic, because, as you mentioned, Kyoto Animation got American voice actors for it.
Yeah.
But there were moments where they didn't... It sounded not Australian, let's be honest. Like, there was that one guy, you know, when they're swimming into the pool, and he's like, yeah, come on and get...
that was really
jump into the pool. And I was like, that didn't even sound Australian. That sounded like a British guy having a stroke. That's what it sounded like. And that's what it felt like. And I was like, okay, there's probably Australian people watching this, and they're like, hey, that doesn't sound Australian at all. Like, to me, that doesn't sound Australian. I'm not Australian, but it just doesn't sound Australian. The only person
You just invalidated your point by just saying you're not Australian.
I'm not Australian, but it doesn't sound Australian. I know what Australian people sound like. Because I speak to a lot of Australians, but what I'm saying is the fact that the only person that I feel that had a authentic voice is Russell. That was it. Even Russell's wife didn't have a proper Australian accent. She was like dipping into American and then into British accent.
An American or British VA for that. I don't know if they actually had legitimate.
They had
Australian...
American. No, they had American voice actors. Tyson told me about that.
For everyone. For the Aussie family?
Yeah, because that's precisely if you look at the credits during that particular episode, you can, I think, and I look up the studio, and it was an American studio. So basically, they what's it called? Offshore. They offshored that job for the Australian voice accent. To kind of wrap up with this, how do you feel about this season compared to season 1?
The thing is, with this season, I think this is a much better season than season 1. I think there's an improvement. Yeah, there is a lot of loopholes and whatnot, but I'm willing to look past that, and I thoroughly enjoyed this more than season 1. I got really hyped at first, and then mainly because it kind of reminds me of the animes that I normally watch, like the romance animes and, you know, the slice of life where there's so much drama in it. So I've kind of felt at home with that. Yeah, there was disappointing moments, and I felt it was rushed, especially with Nagisa, because, you know, Nagisa deserves more love than what he got. So just saying. But yeah, there was great character development with other characters like, you know, Rin, Haru, Sosuke, even Ai-chan, and music improved and whatnot. So I feel overall much better, and I liked the fact that it kind of continued and it kind of just improved. It wasn't downhill like most anime series tend to go for their second season, aka Oremo. So yeah.
The salt.
What do you think, Kevin?
I have to agree with you, completely agree with Bish on all the points he raised. I think that season 1, if I were to compare my experience watching this, compared to season 1, for the first season, I thought of it as more of a drag. Okay, I have to watch this because it's on.
Yeah.
It's on Kunai. Tyson suggested it. I have no choice, you know. And I was like, oh my god, I don't want to watch this. But for the second season, I was like, you know what? I actually want to find out what happens. I actually want to see how these characters develop, because they put so much more, like, from my opinion, I think that they put a lot more emphasis on character development in the second season compared to the first one. And the first one is more like very slice of life-esque, less dramatic than the second season. In the second one, they actually have they take the time to dedicate and develop each character in the main cast. You actually have a stronger connection to each and every one of the main characters. You know, you actually have a reason to care about them now. But at the same time, I do agree with Bish, and you as well, Tyson. There are pacing issues. It isn't a perfect season, but overall, it's much better than the first one in almost every single way, from the music, to the characters, to the story. All across the board.
In regards to me, I mean, I'm a free fanboy, so I enjoy both seasons equally. But if I'm forced to choose, then yeah, free season 2 over free season 1. I like it so much, and I felt such a like I mentioned this in the past, but I think it's worth putting out there. I'm a sucker for character development, and seeing how each character got its own episode, even with all the problems that we talk about, it really made me fall in love with the series. As mentioned, this anime had me in tears more times than one, either from the music or from the particular experiences from the characters. And I'm so hugely invested into it. And I can say this without a shadow of a doubt. I think Free Season 2 has a place among my top 5 anime. It may not be the very top, but it's among the best 5 that I've watched.
I'm curious, would you rate it above Attack on Titan?
I would rate it even above Attack on Titan.
Wow.
No, I mean Attack on Titan is beautiful, but and I did enjoy watching it. But if you're asking me to put together a list of animes that I particularly rate very, very high, I can confidently say that Free Season 2 is among them.
Right.
Of a list of animes that I would rate very, very high. Attack on Titan, I enjoy watching it, but when it comes to a top 20 or top 40 list, I'm like, meh, I wouldn't rate it that high. But that's just me. I think the rating that I gave Free Free Season 2 Anime Planet, Free Season 2, was 4.5 stars out of 5. And I'm thinking of bumping that up to 5. That may not mean much, but when considering how many animes that are rated 5 out of 5 stars, it kind of says a lot. It's not like I want to brag or anything. It's not like my taste in anime is the purest of all the earth. But at least as in what it means to me, it's a huge deal. It is a big deal.
I definitely agree. I mean, if I compare my rating of season 2 compared to season 1, I think I gave season 1 like a 7 point something. Which is, on my scale, it's good, but not. I mean, it's good, but not great. I definitely give season 2 at least an 8.3, and I wouldn't give an 8.5 just because there are pacing issues and some things felt really rushed with certain characters. But overall, it's a big improvement over the last season. I enjoyed it a lot more.
All right, so we pretty much shared everything that there is to share about Free Season 2. I'm still the fanboy here, and I hope that Bish and Kevin also agree with me in my fandom in a way.
Mm-hmm.
So
I would say so, yeah.
So with that out of the way, we wrap up another episode of Get a Life Podcast Kunai. Next episode, Bish, is it wrong to pick up girls in a dungeon?
Well, really, Tyson, I don't know what you're into, but it kind of sounds like bondage and whatnot. So if you're into that, it's fine.
No,
I'm not gonna ask in your personal life.
No, not bondage. No, I'm not into any of that. But the next
maybe
show,
you are. It's fine. It's fine, Tyson, if you are. No one's judging you. Maybe Kevin's judging you, but that's it. That's the only person.
Probably. But the next show that we're gonna watch is it wrong to pick up girls in a dungeon, or as it's known on the internet, Danmachi. And it's probably the show that we suggested the sooner on Kunai, because it's fresh off its airing run and there's already a Kunai episode on it. I mean, I did say that we were gonna have a Danmachi episode, but I didn't expect it this soon. But some things happened, and yes, we're having Danmachi this soon, so look forward for it, guys. remember that you can always send us your suggestion for shows to watch. You can find us at Galkunai on Twitter, or you can also hit us three individually. KNNAYE _ on Twitter.
I'm the Tempest Phoenix, so TheTempestFenix. So it's not Phoenix spelled normally. And also, don't forget the capital for each word.
Never forget the capital when it comes to Kevin. Never forget the capital.
Or else the tweets don't come.
Oh, the tweets don't come.
I just won't look at it. I'll just disregard it completely.
And bitches get a live podcast. Just spell like
Oh,
spell
well, you didn't even let me say it.
Oh, then say it.
I was gonna say.
Then say it, bish sama.
No,
then say
you've just taken it away from me.
Ah.
I'm actually at the Chibi Ultimate. I'm only joking. It's at Get Life Podcast. That was Joe's Twitter. Helping Joe out, getting him more followers. Yeah.
And P.S. Operation #GetBishLate is still going on. So, if you know anyone out there, send it to us.
Send it to us. Send it to Bish. Send it to the Galkunai Twitter. Because we really need to get big.
Tyson any fanfics as well, because
yes,
he loves them,
especially with
free
the Australia episode, because he loves those.
Yeah, we really want to know what actually happened in that bed, because we don't know.
Oh,
and they shared it.
No,
I think that was specifically for the Tumblr people.
Rule 34.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. This is the sign that we should end this. So goodbye, guys.
See ya.
All right. See you guys.
Are we gonna do the clap thing?
Yeah, we're gonna do the clapping.
Okay, go.
Let's do the clap game, guys.
The clap game, the clap king, and Bish is gonna play 1, 2, 1, 2, clap, clap, clap.
No. As chico.
I'm spelling it the way the French people would say it.
No,
Sure.
they pronounce it like chaud, which would be hot.
Short.
Oh, like shod
Oh, short.
or
No, it should be
chod.
chaud. You don't pronounce the D.
All right. Calm your tits, mate. No, but how would I wait. So,
My name
in
is
the
just
Vietnamese
Chat.
accent, how would you say it?
Wait, what?
Fuck. It's the same way.
No, man. You tell me right now. I am your uncle, and you'll not even trust me.
You'll see this spike, and then you're like, okay, this is when the podcast starts, and you're gonna have like 2 minutes of just random conversation. You'll be like, what the fuck?
Then we just shut up for a minute, and then he'll know.
Okay. Well, to Tyson of the future, who's editing, this is not part of the podcast.
Tyson of the future, is he like a Terminator style thing? I hope he is.
So basically, you're making a robot joke because
Tyson 2.0. Yes, we actually talked about that on Twitter. I really don't know what's going on. Skype is not working. Why is that? I don't know. Fucking Skype! Why don't you help me out, please?
We need to get sponsored by an internet company. Like, Bell, if you're listening there. We need you.
Why, Skype? Why?
Bish, you back?
I have returned. Sorry. You know what happened?
What?
Skype was like, hey, guess what? I'm gonna update myself. I'm like, I just updated you. And you know what I think it is? Because I was talking shit about Nagisa. And, he is the kami of kunai. So he was like, you know what, Bish? I can't handle your shit anymore. So I deserve what I get,